So did any of you guys know that the King of Underground and Peter were mages before they revealed their powers to us earlier? Layla writes to us as we walk further down the corridor. I was honestly taken completely by surprise. You can tell that they were mages if you looked closely at their auras, but I'll admit that the King's level of power surprised me a little as well. Manindra says, I did not realize that he was suppressing the magic in his aura to such a degree. Let's hope that we won't need to fight them in the future. Darren says, we already got our hands full with the royal guards and the rest of the king's army as it is. A few minutes later, when we reach the waiting room, Darren tells us to wait for him while he goes to get Kelvin from the quarantine zone. Layla takes his opportunity to pay a quick visit to her father's workshop, so she can tell him where we are headed. As we are waiting for the two of them to return, Flower tries once again to begin a conversation with Luna. However, it looks like she's still being ignored. Hey Luna, are you done learning the spell yet? Flower says. Hey Luna, come on, I need to talk to you about something. It's about the way I've been acting lately. Hey, are you listening to me? You still haven't talked to her yet, I ask Flower. No, Flower says. I have no idea what she's doing. Even during the fight with the King of the Underground and his men, I could barely get her to pay attention. Okay, I found Kilram, Darren says in a loud voice as she and the goblin are now walking out of the quarantine zone. Are you all ready to go? We are still waiting for Layla, I tell him. She went to tell her father that we are going to the... I'm back. You see Layla riding in front of us. She is now running towards us. We can go now. Have you been running this whole time? I asked Layla when she gets closer. You're sweating like crazy. Considering that I have my speed stat maxed, I may as well use it, right? Layla writes. She's still breathing a bit heavily. Don't worry about me. I'll just rest while we walk. Yeah, I'm sure we can wait 2 more minutes for you to catch your breath. Well, I'm sure you're fine. Then I suppose we can get going. Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait for 2 more minutes. I'm sure we can wait for 2 more minutes for you to catch your breath, I say. Right, Darren? Oh yeah, sure. Darren says, not a problem. We decide to wait a few more minutes until Layla is good to go. Then we'll begin to head for the exit that leads towards the room with the teleporter. Just as we are about to make our first steps, we hear Flower's voice as her eyes turn blue. Wait, Iluna says, and we all stop in our tracks. Iluna, Flower says, are you finally done practicing that spell? I wouldn't say it's completely done, but at least I managed to get all the letters right. Iluna says, step aside. I'm going to be conjuring a lot of plates. Iluna then makes some gesture with her hand. A large plate with a chocolate cake appears on the ground in front of us, along with several other small plates that are surrounding the larger plate that each has a knife and a fork on top of them. There are a lot of unlit candles on top of the cake. Now that I also take a better look at it, I can see that there are also letters written on this surface of frosting. The letters spell happy birthday Flower. That is hilarious. I didn't expect that. I thought you learned a big fucking cooking spell or something. I'm not as good as Flower at using the food creation spell, so I need a little time to make all the preparation, Iluna says. But I think that today's Flower's birthday? Kate asks, shocked when she gets closer and reads the letter on the cake. Yes, that is what the writing on the cake says, Iluna answers bluntly. Flower, why didn't you tell us that it was your birthday today? Kate says. Well, everyone had more important things to worry about, so I didn't really want to. Hold on a minute, Flower says as she gets close to the cake and then begins to count the candles one by one using her index finger. Once she is done counting them, the first time she starts to count them again, but much slower, as if it was hard for her to believe what she was seeing. Iluna, Flower says in a trembling voice, are there exactly 30 candles on top of this cake? Of course there are, Iluna says. You can still count, can't you? Does this mean what I think it means? Flower says. No, this does not mean that I now consider you to be an adult, Iluna says. And no matter how many times you will call me Iluna or act as if you were a grown-up, that is still not going to change. However, I've given this some more thought, and I've arrived at the conclusion that I can make a concession. I accept to call you a 30-year-old if it really means that much to you. It will still take a bit of time getting used to the idea, but oh, Petal, thank you so much, Flower says in a very loud voice as she now looks like she's hugging herself. Can you at least control your body when you hug me inside your mind? Iluna says. Or do you not realize how ridiculous we both look right now? I don't care, Flower says. She still continues to hug herself. I don't want to let you go. I don't want to fight with you anymore. Please promise me that we won't ever have to fight like that for as long as we live. I swear that I won't try to act like someone I'm not anymore. I won't call you Luna anymore. Just say Just say that we will never have to go through something like that ever again. We will not fight. Iluna begins to say, but then she interrupts herself. Oh, fine, I give up. You win. I promise that we will never have a fight again. Are you happy now? Yes, Flower says, beginning beaming as she finally stops hugging herself. You have no idea how happy. Thank you. She then comes closer to me and Melindra and she grabs our hands as she smiles at us. And thank you both, Flower says. Thank you for all that you did for us. Hey, cut it out, Melindra says, pulling her hand away as I see her getting flustered for the first time since I've met her. There's no need to thank me. We're friends, remember? And besides, I barely even did anything. That's not true, Flower says. You helped us a lot. You both did. Flower and I might have still been fighting today if it weren't for you. Thank you so much. As we hear Hardrick's voice, who's standing near the plates. Looks like while the rest of us were busy talking, Hardrick used a tinderbox that he had in his backpack to light all the candles on the cake. So are we going to blow out these candles or what? Hardrick says as he is now holding the plate with the cake in his hands. Yes, Flower says, excited as she runs towards the cake. Yes, of course. She then leans forward and she blows on the candle as hard as she can until none of them are burning anymore. After we all wish her a happy birthday, she begins to cut slices of the cake and to share them with everyone around. It's too bad that Rose isn't here with us. I say, it would have been nice to give her a slice of cake considering that she helped out too last night. I know, Flower says as she's cutting another slice of cake. I'll make sure to conjure another cake just for her the next time we meet. Here's your slice, Kilrim. Oh, Kilrim says as he takes the plate with the slice of cake. Thank you. You're welcome, Flower says, as she now looks at the rest of us and sees that we each have a plate in our hand. I think I know what to do with the last slice. Flower conjures a small plate with a knife and fork and she puts the last slice of cake on it. She then goes over to the quarantine area entrance and she extends her hand with the plate to Desmond, who is still guarding the door. It's my birthday, Flower says, smiling as Desmond looks at her confused. Oh, Desmond says. He grabs the plate from her hands. Well, thanks, I guess. As Flower is returning to us, Desmond calls out to her in a loud voice. Hey, Desmond says, happy birthday. Thank you, Flower says as she waves at him happily. And then she comes back to us. Alright, I've served all the cake slices now. Flower tells us, let's get going, huh? Hardrick says, confused, but we're not done eating yet. You can finish eating while we walk, Flower says. Come on, I don't want anyone in the quarantine zone to die waiting for the cure because of me. Fine, Hardrick says, let's head for the teleporter then. We do what Flower says. We take the small plates with us. Can she de-conjure the plates as well, or do they just is there just plates in the world now? As we walk towards the teleporter room, while we are traveling through the corridor, Hardrick pulls out few very small mugs from his backpack with his free hand and he puts them in on his plate near the cake. He then takes out a bottle of dwarven ale, begins to fill the mugs. I have a question though. This is the conjuring food ability, and on top of that, plates ability is so weird. Like she could literally conjure that into someone's lung or something. Yeah, that is an OP ability as far as I can see, but whatever. Can't have a birthday without dwarven ale, right? Hardrick says. Once he done filling them up, he starts handing each of us a mug. I've only poured a few sips worth of ale for each of you. Wouldn't want all of you getting drunk before a battle, Darren. Darren, I'm guessing that you're still not drinking during the day. Of course not, Darren says. As always, Hardrick says while he hands me one of the mugs. Is Flower going to be drinking with us? I mean, she is 30. Hey, so if I'm now officially 30 years old, does that mean that I get to drink alcohol? Flower asks excitedly. No, we all say in unison. Oh, Flower says. I kind of think that she should be allowed to. What are you talking about? I mean, I know she has a young body, but whatever. Come on, it's one day. It's not gonna hurt nobody. Don't be too upset, Flower, Hardrick says as he takes a sip from his mug. You may not always be able to have everything you want in life, but that doesn't mean that you can't make the most of what you get. For example, you might not get to drink with us now, but just look at how many rocks are on the ground all around you. While the rest of us are busy with our drinking, you could be snatching up a rare rock that would put Melinda's collection to shame. Nah, I tell Hardrick, the rocks from here won't be any good for them. Half of them are too small and the other half either don't have the right shades of color, and the surfaces are too smooth. I wouldn't be surprised if Melinda already got all the rocks that they would consider valuable the very first time that we walked through these tunnels.